Good morning, philosophers. Hope you are extremely well today. Extremely well. Let's get back into Book 9. I think we finished pretty early on in Book 9. Hopefully I'm not rereading stuff, but it's okay if I am. Number 2. Real good luck would be to abandon life without ever encountering dishonesty or hypocrisy or self-indulgence or pride. But the next best voyage is to die when you've had enough. Or are you determined to lie down with evil? Yeah, we've already read that one. Number 3. Don't look down on death, but welcome it. It too is one of the things required by nature, like youth and old age, like growth and maturity, like a new set of teeth, a beard, the first gray hair, like sex and pregnancy and childbirth, like all the other physical changes at each stage of life, our disillusion is no different. So this is how a thoughtful person should await death, not with indifference, not with impatience, not with disdain, but simply viewing it as one of the things that happens to us. Now you anticipate the child's emergence from its mother's womb. That's how you should await the hour when your soul will emerge from its compartment. Or perhaps you need some tidy aphorism to tuck away in the back of your mind. Well, consider 2 things that should reconcile you to death. The nature of the things you'll leave behind you, and the kind of people you'll no longer be mixed up with. There's no need to feel resentment toward them. In fact, you should look out for their well-being and be gentle with them, but keep in mind that everything you believe is meaningless to those you leave behind. Because that's all that could restrain us, if anything could. The only thing that could make us want to stay here, the chance to live with those who share our vision. But now, look how tiring it is, this cacophony we live in. Enough to make you say to death, come quickly before I start to forget myself like them. Number 4. To do harm is to do yourself harm. To do an injustice is to do yourself an injustice. It degrades you. 5. And you can also commit injustice by doing nothing. 6. Hard disagree. Well, I mean, depending on your definition of justice. Okay. Number 6. Objective judgment now, at this very moment. Unselfish action now, at this very moment. Willing acceptance now at this very moment of all external events. That's all you need. 7. Blot out your imagination. Turn your desire to stone. Quench your appetites. Keep your mind centered on itself. Number 8. Animals without the logos are assigned the same soul. And those who have the logos share one too, a rational one. Just as all earthly creatures share one earth, just as we all see by the same light and breathe the same air, all of us who see and breathe. 9. All things are drawn toward what is like them, if such a thing exists. All earthly things feel the earth's tug. All wet things flow together. And airy things as well, so they have to be forcibly prevented from mixing. Excuse me. I'm recording right now, I can't come out. When I'm done recording... Where was I? Excuse me. All earthly things feel the earth's tug. All wet things flow together, and airy things as well, so they have to be forcibly prevented from mixing. Fire is naturally drawn upward by that higher fire, but ready to ignite at the slightest touch of other earthly flame, so that anything drier than usual makes good fuel because less of what hinders combustion is mixed in with it. Oh, good old ancient explanations of physics, you know. And things that share, it makes you think about how confident you are in what you know. And how somebody 2,000 years from now will look back on anything that you write about it. Like, you gotta remember to be humble. And things that share an intelligent nature are just as prone to seek out what is like them, if not more so, because their superiority in other ways is matched by their greater readiness to mix and mingle with their counterparts. Even in irrational beings, we see swarms and herds and nesting, and love not unlike ours, because they do have souls, and the bonding instinct is found in a developed form, not something we see in plants or stones or trees. And it's still more developed in rational beings with their states, friendships, families, groups, their treaties and truces. And in those yet more developed, there is a kind of unity even between separate things. The kind that we see in the stars. An advanced level of development can produce a sympathy, even in things that are quite distinct. But look how things are now. The rational things are the only ones that have lost that sense of attraction, of convergence. Only there do we not see that intermingling. But however much they try to avoid it, there's no escaping. Nature is stronger, and you can see, as you can see if you look closely. Concrete objects can pull free of the earth more easily than humans can escape humanity. Number 10. Humanity, divinity, and the world, all of them bearing fruit, each fruitful in its season. Normally, we limit the word to vines and other plants. Unnecessarily. Excuse me, I'm going to have to end the life of a feline. Go. My goodness. My daughter left her cat in my office, and when I closed the door to record in an attempt to be by myself and have some alone time, it resulted in the direct opposite. Let's see, where were we? Humanity, divinity, and the world, all of them bearing fruit, each fruitful in its season. Normally we limit the word to vines and other plants, unnecessarily. The fruit of the Logos nourishes both us and it, and other things spring from it too, of the same species as the Logos itself. Number 11. Convince them not to, if you can. And if not, remember the capacity for patience was given us for a reason. The gods are patient with them too, and even help them to concrete things. Health, money, fame. Such is the gods' goodness, and yours too if you wanted. What's stopping you? 12. Work. Not to rouse pity, not to win sympathy or admiration, only this, activity, stillness, as the Logos of the state requires. 13. Today I escaped from anxiety. Or no, I discarded it because it was within me. It was in my own perceptions, not outside. 14. Known by long experience, limited in lifespan, debased in substance, all of it. Now as then in the time of those we buried. 15. Things wait outside us, hover at the door. They keep to themselves. Ask them who they are, and they don't know. They can give no account of themselves. What accounts for them? The mind does. Number 16. Not being done to, but doing. Source of good and bad for rational and political beings. Where their own goodness and badness is found, not in being done to, but in doing. 17. A rock thrown in the air. It loses nothing by coming down, gained nothing by going up. 18. Enter their minds, and you'll find the judges you're so afraid of, and how judiciously they judge themselves. 19. Everything in flux, and you too will alter in the whirl and perish. The world will as well, and the world as well. 20. Leave other people's mistakes where they lie. 21. When we cease from activity, or follow a thought to its conclusion, it's a kind of death, and it doesn't harm us. Think about your life. Childhood, boyhood, youth, old age, every transformation a kind of dying. Was that so terrible? Think about life with your grandfather, your mother, your adopted father. Realize how many other deaths and transformations and endings there have been, and ask yourself, was that so terrible? Then neither will the close of your life be its ending and transformation. 22. Go straight to the seat of intelligence, your own, the world's, your neighbor's. Your own to ground it in justice, the world's to remind yourself what it is you're a part of, your neighbor's to distinguish ignorance from calculation and recognize it as like yours. 23. You participate in a society by your existence, then participate in its life through your actions, all your actions. Any action not directed toward a social end, directly or indirectly, is a disturbance to your life, an obstacle to wholeness, a source of dissension. Like the man in the assembly, a faction to himself, always out of step with the majority. There it is again. That collectivism, then participate in its life through your actions. Any action not directed toward a social end is a disturbance to your life, an obstacle to wholeness. Yeah, this is in direct contradiction to some of the best parts of objectivism. 24. Childish tantrums, children's games, spirits carrying corpses, Odysseus in the underworld, saw more real life. 25. Identify its purpose, what makes it what it is, and examine that. Ignore its concrete form, then calculate the length of time that such a thing was meant to last. That's a repeated theme. Remember, like if you're in conflict with somebody, remember that you're both going to be dead soon anyway, so it's probably not that important. Or, you know, if there's an object in your way that's causing you problems, it's like, remember that's not going to be around forever anyway. 26. Endless suffering, all from not allowing the mind to do its job. Enough. 27. When you face someone's insults, hatred, whatever, look at his soul. Get inside him. Look at what sort of person he is. You'll find you don't need to strain to impress him. But you do have to wish him well. He's your closest relative. The gods assist him just as they do you, by signs and dreams and every other way, to get the things he wants. 28. The world's cycles never change, up and down, from age to age. Either the world's intelligence wills each thing, if so, it accepts its will, or it exercised that will once and for all, and all else follows as a consequence, and if so, why worry? One way or another, atoms are unity. If it's God, all is well. If it's arbitrary, don't imitate it. The earth will cover us all, and then be transformed in turn, and that too will change ad infinitum, and that as well ad infinitum. Think about them, the waves of change and alteration, endlessly breaking, and see our brief mortality for what it is. 29. The design of the world is like a flood, sweeping all before it. The foolishness of them, little men busy with affairs of state, with philosophy, or what they think of as philosophy, nothing but phlegm and mucus. Well, then what? Do what nature demands, get a move on, if you have it in you, and don't worry about whether anyone will give you credit for it, and don't go expecting Plato's Republic. Be satisfied with even the smallest progress, and treat the outcome of it all as unimportant. Who can change their minds, and without that change, what is there but groaning, slavery, and pretense of obedience? Go on and cite Alexander, Philip, Demetrius, or Phalerum. Whether they knew nature's will and made themselves its student is for them to say. And if they preferred to play the king, well, no one forced me to be their understudy. The task of philosophy is modest and straightforward. Don't tempt me to presumption. 30. To see them from above, the thousands of animal herds, the rituals, the voyages on calm or stormy seas, the different ways we come into the world, share it with one another and leave it. Consider the lives led once by others long ago, the lives to be led by others after you. The lives led even now in foreign lands. How many people don't even know your name? How many will soon have forgotten it? How many offer you praise now and tomorrow perhaps contempt? That to be remembered is worthless, like fame, like everything. 31. Indifference to external events, and a commitment to justice in your own acts, which means thought and action resulting in the common good, what you were born to do. 32. You can discard most of the junk that clutters your mind, things that exist only there, and clear out space for yourself. By comprehending the scale of the world, by contemplating infinite time, by thinking of the speed with which things change, each part of everything, the narrow space between our birth and death, the infinite time before, the equally unbounded time that follows. Okay. My thought for today. Oh yeah, I had some success yesterday. The practice I put into myself paid off. There was a couple instances where I was pretty disappointed or severely inconvenienced by people that I was depending on to do what they agreed to do, and they just boldly came up and let me know that that wasn't going to be happening. And I kept my chill, I kept my cool, I handled it well. The only thing I could have done better is to work on having predicted those outcomes in advance and having a plan ready for them. In neither case did I predict that for some reason, even though the signs were all there. And when I saw the signs of, impending unreliability, I should have predicted the possibility of it and planned accordingly so that I could have handled it even better than I did. But the quote that I had, and I don't remember who this is from, the quote I wrote down for today, is domesticate your emotions. Don't pretend they don't exist. And this is one of the good lessons of Stoicism. It's like, feel your anger, experience your anger, and then domesticate that shit. Like, don't let it run wild. Domesticate is a great word for what it should be, what your emotions' role should be. They should be domesticated. They should be under your control. They should be trained. You can, feel them. You don't pretend they don't exist. That will be harmful to you for sure. But, make sure you're the one in charge and driving that bus at all times. And it's easy when nothing bad's happening, but when the bad stuff's happening that your previous... What is happening? Super noisy outside. Yeah, and then my other thought for today is just to try and be more aware of where things are heading in real time so that I can set my expectations accordingly and plan for the possible negative outcomes so that I can handle them even better. So like the minimum behavior, the minimum standard of behavior in my mind is when you're given bad news or you're approached with a bad situation to not, lose your shit, to not lose your temper, to not freak out, to not lose it, right? That's the minimum. That's step one. That's bare minimum. To sort of stay at least calm and in control. Now, the mastery of that is when you've been able to see it coming, you saw the possibility of that negative event occurring, you planned ahead accordingly, so when it came, you not only were calm, but you had a plan that you were already in the progress of implementing. So that's what I'm going to think about and work on today. Ladies and gentlemen, have a great day.